Hello and welcome to This Day Devo. My name is Pastor Guy, and it is good to have you here with me on this Friday morning. I am honored, excited, and I am reading Acts chapter 13, verses 13 through 43. And the entirety of what we read today is Paul's address in a synagogue as part of his missionary journey with Barnabas. And as we think about this, I think it's important for us to simply pause and be reminded of the simple and clear gospel message. So simple that a child can understand it and find faith. We as human beings have a really bad habit of overcomplicating everything. I want to make it, it's like the harder it is, the smarter I feel for understanding it. Or maybe it's my pride that makes me want to explain it in a way that maybe somebody in the room doesn't understand what's going on here. Or we get all high and mighty and we create these church cultures that get stuffy, and we use these $10 words when we could explain it simple enough with a simple word. This is like a human thing that we do, and then we try to be cunning. We try to just impress people. The Apostle Paul is entirely against that. He's an incredibly smart, incredibly learned, incredibly educated man. But when it comes to sharing the gospel, he's like, stop wasting my time. In fact, he even says, if you would look ahead in 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 6, he says, I'm an unskilled speaker. I try to be clear in every possible way. It is more important to him, as it should be to us, that we explain the gospel in a clear and simple way. He actually asks at times, please pray that I can clearly explain the mystery of salvation through Christ. And in today's passage, he does just that for the people in this synagogue. He got asked to go up and speak because he was probably dressed like a Pharisee. He knew that he would have an opportunity, so he put on his robes. He's like, you're going to give me an opportunity, I'm going to take it. I'm not passing on this opportunity. You're going to let me stand up in front of you guys? And in this situation, we find that he is accepted. They ask him to come back. And he gives us this just beautiful, simple picture of the Gospels. I mean, he walks through the history of the Jews. He walks through the descendants of David. He talks about how Jesus is the fulfillment of that. He talks about the cross, the resurrection. He promises how Jesus promises forgiveness to those who believe in him. And he even takes the time in verses 40 and 41 to warn the listeners that a choice now must be made. Wow. Did you know that modern day evangelical preaching that you are probably very used to, that ends with a choice to be made, a challenge to be had, that I'm not just, when you hear a gospel message, it is not just a lecture so that you can learn something. That would be teaching. The difference between teaching and preaching is preaching brings a challenge. It brings a choice. It brings a moment. It comes to a conclusion where the hearer is invited to make a decision that their life will be changed. What truly it is. And so this is the clear, simple gospel in a beautiful way by Paul. And if you ever, this would probably be more effective with, say, a Jewish friend who doesn't believe in the gospel, to simply hand them this passage and say, here's how Paul would answer these questions. Let's talk about that. It's a beautiful thing. So I just want to encourage you to don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to explain who Jesus is to people in your life, because you can do that in a very simple way. In fact, if you know enough to be saved, you know enough to tell someone else enough to be saved, and let the Holy Spirit do the work. Today I learned this about Jesus, and on this day I will this. Go and be ambassadors for Christ wherever he calls you today. I love you. See ya.
Every word sent down from heaven as the power of Christ